As most of you have known, this is the outside work area that you're going to be playing in, constructing whatever you're doing for each lab. Our air system is right here. The air handle is right here. All you have to do is turn it on and you have power to you. But before you start working on this, be sure that the air line is clear. Always have your safety glasses on around here whenever you're in the lab. All right? Because this is a training film, I take it off and on just to show you what I'm doing here to emphasize on the parts. But always drain this and be sure there's nobody out in your area. Then this is a quick disconnect. All right? You pull back on it and it comes right off. All right? You see how that opens up like that? If you want to put it on, you open it up, shove your tool back in there, and bring the sleeve back forward, and it locks it into place. Now, we know that the air is out of the system. Now we have our tool, and for most of you, you've used this before, so we're not going to go really into detail other than little tricks of the trade now. We talked about loading the, again, I consider this to be a highly sophisticated weapon here. So again, when you go to load the weapon, your nails will, well, I shouldn't say only will go in one direction, but if you can't figure that out, we need to discuss this in detail. But the nails go in at an angle, and you'll notice that it's going to go over. I'm taking my gloves off to show you here. This little I don't know, lever that's spring-loaded. When you bring the nails over it, it pops back up so that the nails can't come back out. You're running it all the way down. Again, you're running it all the way down to until it stops. Now this is your charging handle. All right. You're going to pull this charging handle back, and when you do it, it's also going to take the nails with it. So don't panic. All right. You're going to pull it back, and you notice now that the nails are being stopped by that little mechanism that's popped up. It's like a backstop. But the charging handle continues on, and then it bypasses the nails, and it's collecting all the nails and bringing them forward. This keeps pressure on the nails. Now, something that you may or may not know. You see this yellow stuff that's on there? That's glue. Because it fires at such a high temperature or a high pressure, it melts this glue. It serves two purposes. It holds the nails in place, and it adds a little adhesive when it goes into the system. Again, we always want to be sure that all our parts are connected on this. All right, nothing's been removed, nothing's been played with. So now the tool is ready. You've physically checked it all out, and it's ready to go. Before you go to fire any of this, you're going to say fire in the hole 3 times. It doesn't matter if there's no students out here or not, but in real life, there will be people out there, and they have to be aware of that. Because again, this nail hits somebody, you're going to be charged with assault. All right? So be aware of that. Now, you notice that my trigger finger is not on the trigger at all when I'm ready to hook this up. I don't have air to my system, but I'm going to pull back on my lever, slide it in there, and check it to be sure it's locked. Now, once it's locked, I'm going to reach over here, and you notice my gun is pointed up into the air. I turn on the air because sometimes, you know, the weather out here, the heat, it'll pop these things off. So be sure your face and everything's away from it. Be sure everybody's away from you around the gun and where you're going to start. You're going to be working with 2x6 or maybe 2x4s or several 2x4s. We want the 2x6 because we know that the length of the nail isn't going to go through it for safety reasons. Lay it on the ground. Don't ever do any of the work up on the table. You're looking at it, and it's too risky. Now, you notice on this tool that this trigger finger, or the trigger mechanism, is not locked. All right? It's free. That's because this plunger is not engaged yet. So, again, we're going to set the tool down, squarely on the equipment and push in. And before we hit that trigger, we're going to say, fire in the hole, fire in the hole, fire in the hole. We want to ensure that everything's away. You don't see me having both hands on this and pushing it into the wood. Just firmly have it straight up and down. And with the trigger finger, lightly hit that trigger, and you'll see what happens. Notice that I'm just using the tip of my finger to hit it. What happens if I use my full finger, I'm getting double feeds. You see that? That's what you don't want to happen. Again, the fingertip only. Push down, using the fingertip only, shoot. Shoot. Look at here where you got the grain of the wood, you got knots in here. Always avoid knots. What happens is that nail can hit that knot and take off in the direction that you don't want it to go in. The next phase of this is if you're roofing. They got a roofing gun. Works basically the same thing, it's just a coil. And the way that you use that is you're going to hold it with your trigger finger, the trigger down, and the plunger hasn't been engaged yet. Now what you're going to do is ready to go, and you say fire in the hole, fire in the hole, fire in the hole. And you're going to push down on the plunger and the tool at a 90-degree angle into the wood. So that finishes this exercise. Now remember, you want to pull this off, holding it firm to release the air. All right. Set it down out of the way. Reattach the other air hose portion so it's ready for the next student, and you're ready to go. Close off your valve. Drain your air. Now as you get better with it, you don't have to shut the air off when you're attaching a tool because you'll get used to it. Sometimes what happens is people aren't used to it. They pull this back, set the tool on, and because of the pressure, it throws the tool out. But understand that you're in the maintenance field and you got to start understanding how it works in the real world. So pull it back, lock it into place, and use the tool.